The Tower. A challenge for only the most skilled Minecraft Dungeons players. A gauntlet of mobs and bosses with gear you picked up only moments before. Why would anyone do this? Two reasons. First, it's actually pretty fun. Secondly, and more impactfully, the tower gets you access to the strongest gear in the game, 263 power level gilded items. These are around 60% stronger than the highest level gear you can get naturally at 251, and they are critical for high level play. But how do you get this high level gear from the tower? And how do you even beat the tower? I'll explain both of these right here. Let's start with some more background about the tower. Every week, the tower resets with a new layout. These layouts can have anywhere between 21 to 30 floors, with usually 3 of those being bosses and 3 being merchants. You start with simple gear, and after each floor you can pick up a new piece of gear to use in the tower. The tower can be played at any difficulty, default, adventure, or apocalypse, but I only recommend playing once you are already at a high level. Playing at default or adventure will help you in the short term because you will have strong gear compared to where you are now, but since it won't be maxed out at 263 power level, in the future that gear will be outclassed. Considering the time-consuming process of playing the tower, I only recommend playing once you've already climbed to the top of the difficulty tiers. You need to already be at a high power level at 250-ish to get gear at 263. Don't get me wrong, if you have level 100 gear and the tower gives you 130, it's going to help you a lot, and you should play it once or twice, but I heavily argue against grinding the tower until you gain access to that 263 stuff, because that is what makes the tower unique. Now that we've talked about when you should start grinding the tower, let's ask a more difficult question. How do I actually beat it? That 263 gear is only obtained if you beat every single floor. So, let's break down the components of the tower you should keep in mind. Firstly, while the gear you get after each floor will be higher level than your old gear, it's more important to be grabbing enchantment points when you can. Therefore, a lot of your decisions on when to grab gear should be spaced out and only focused on very valuable stuff. Second, your starting gear isn't bad, and you should probably stick to it for a while. Every time you will get a sword and a mercenary armor, with enchantments varying each week. While a sword is just meh, mercenary armor is fantastic, with a damage boost and a defense buff. If your enchantments are good, it will last you through the entire early game. Third, keep an eye out for enchants on good weapons. For example, an armor with 35% damage reduction and life boost, which gives 33% more health after each death. And it's by far the best enchantment in the tower. Because if you die, you'll be in a better position to try again when you respawn. Additionally, healing enchants like Radiance and Leeching are helpful, just like in the base game, and usually most base game enchantments that are good in the tower. If you can find an Anima Conduit bow, you will be set. Fourth, your artifacts. The best artifacts are the Gong of Weakening, the Deathcap Mushroom, the Updraft Tome, Ironhide Amulet, Regeneration Totem, and the Satchel of Elements. A Gong is good at any level and is by far the best artifact you can grab. The other ones are better at higher levels, especially the Updraft Tome and the Satchel of Elements, but they shouldn't need to be replaced if you grab them early. Fifth, the Merchants. These guys are incredibly helpful, and can help you keep gear you grab early on relevant. The Powersmith increases the power level of one piece of gear by a lot, the Unique Smith makes a gear unique and raises the power level a little too, and the Guildsmith makes a gear gilded, and also raises the power a bit too. Keep in mind that gilded items cost more enchantment points to enchant, so make sure to enchant your gear first and then gild it, or at least don't add any more after you gild it. Lastly, have a plan. The tower stays for a week, and will have the same loot and floors each time. I personally keep track of every valuable item I could grab, and I will grab, as well as what the bosses are and where the merchants are. This helps me stay consistent as well as be confident, and I will spend the rest of this video showing you how I play this week's tower while walking you through my item choices. So for this week's tower, we start with our sword, of course, and it actually is pretty decent with Radiance and Busy Bee, and our mercenary armor, which is in general fantastic. This one has cooldown, so that's even greater, and our bow is okay. Spoiler alert, I don't think we grab a single bow this game. Floor 1 is not bad, you just gotta make sure to target the Geomancers because they can get out of hand. I have not spent my enchantment point yet because I am saving up for Radiance on my sword. So right off the bat, we have quite a few good options on this floor. We have a Bone Club, and it's good because it has Leeching and Fire aspect, which is great. Scatter Mines always do a lot of damage, and we have a Gong of Weakening. Gong of Weakening is always the best artifact you can have in the game. in the tower. So we're going to take this. There actually is another one later in the tower, but it's very late, so we're going to take this one in the meantime. No questions asked. And now that we have enough points for Radiance, I'm going to get that on my sword, just because having a way to heal is nice. This level is quite heavy on creepers, so be very careful. This floor does not have anything fantastic, so we're going to keep moving on and take an enchantment point. Floor 3 is an underwater level, but it is not a particularly difficult one. This floor has okay things, but they're not fantastic, so we will keep moving on. The enchantment point is more valuable than everything there. We are going to enchant another level of Radiance, and also get cooldown on our armor, so we can activate our gong a little more often. This level is actually quite difficult because there are just so many creepers. In general, in the tower, you do not fight creepers, you just run. Like especially the enchanted one. So I'm going to keep playing, but that's honestly very embarrassing because I could have fought that because I had the gong and I just ran and okay, yeah, that was a misplay. Like I said, this level is not fun just because there's so many creepers and you only have so many rolls. Me losing on floor 4 is not great for the video, but you know what? We take it. We're doing fine. Do I want to re-record? I really do. That's really embarrassing. I'll leave it in because it's actually struggling. And anyways, we have our first weapon of the run. This is the Starless Knight, in general S tier weapon. And the enchantments on this one are fantastic. Nothing else here is that important. This one has Echo, which is great. And why you think Unenchanting would be better, because Unenchanting is great. Actually, Busy Bee is a really good enchantment in the tower. Obviously, Echo, we're going to get that first. But Unenchanting is a very good weapon. Or very good enchantment because, or Busy Bee. What am I saying? Sorry, I'm shaken up after getting messed up. I got this perfect earlier when I wasn't recording. Of course I mess up while I'm recording. Creeper. Now this level is not particularly easy. I never really like these grass levels. Because I hate poison. But there is no Leotard, or Leo, whatever they're called. Leap Leaf. Leotard, whoops. Nothing here is important or good, so we're gonna keep moving on. Do I sound annoyed? I just started recording and I died to the one level I was worried about. I even wrote it down that was a hard level. I even called it at the beginning. Wow. This one should not be too bad. Now the reason I particularly like Busy Bee for the tower, number one, I love bees. They're really funny. Nothing here is of that much importance. You could take the Ironhide Amulet. It is a pretty good one. And you know, I think we will. Ironhide Amulet is not a particularly helpful one, but it is nice to have. And I'm embarrassed that I've already died, so I'm going to make sure I don't. And by the way, spoiler alert, by the end we're going to have a surplus of enchantment points, so we will not be worrying too much. Oh yeah, nothing here is that important. Floor 8 is not a particularly difficult one. Next up we do have a merchant though. It will be the Powersmith, and we will be powersmithing our melee. This Starless Knight will take us very far in the game. Almost to the end. And actually I think we could take it to the end. On my first play I did. It will make it. It is slightly difficult though. Here we're going to take this mercenary armor. It is just better than our current one. It has cooldown like before, but also is snowball. These other things are okay. I say the Satchel of Elements is a good one to grab. I personally don't like to do that though, because I think that it is gambling, because the lightning is fantastic, the burning is pretty good, and the freezing is so bad that it makes me want to cry. We're going to Powersmith our Starless Knights, level 94. It'll help us a lot with our next boss. Just enchanting up a little. Our next boss is going to be the Corrupted Cauldron. He will spawn like right up here. For the Corrupted Cauldron, because we have our Gong of Weakening, we should be able to take it out without too much trouble. I'm keeping an eye on my health because it is possible to die here. But we just tank it and we move on. Nothing here is of importance, so we're going to keep moving on. This is floor 11. Watch out for the wraiths. So here we can have a few good options. The snow armor has a life boost, which is fantastic, but we're going to take a totem of regeneration because our armor is already pretty okay, and totem of regeneration in general is a fantastic artifact to grab. Lore 12 is icy. Always watch out for isologers. I stand corrected, there were no isologers, I forgot. So this is actually pretty trivial. Nothing here is of that much importance. Yes, Thief Armor has life boost, but Thief Armor is not fantastic in the tower. Usually you want to find ones with 35% damage reduction. The next few levels will not be too difficult, and we actually will not be grabbing anything for quite a while. Easy level, moving on. The Backstabber is okay, but our Starless Knight is still better. You keep moving. This is another level. Be careful, because the ground can fall, and wither skeletons, and fungus guys. We've got some good void-touched blades, but like before, our Starless Knight is still better, so we will keep moving. Like before, target down the Wraith, and you should be fine. The Snowbow is pretty good, but me personally on this tower, I do not find the need for any ranged weapon, so we will keep moving. And now we are at a merchant floor. So we are about to fight the Nameless One, and this is a unique smith. Our armor is fantastic, so we are going to unique it because also our melee is already unique. The Renegade armor is one of the best armors in the game normally, and it is fantastic here. Like I said, this is the Nameless One, and he's harder to take down than the Corrupted Cauldron, but he still should not be too difficult. We did use a potion, but he went down easy. Now we will grab an Updraft Tome, and this will actually replace our Ironhide Amulet. Ironhide Amulet is a good thing to have, but it is not better than the Updraft Tome. In my opinion, the Updraft Tome is one of the best artifacts in the tower. Floor 18 is not too difficult, it's just another underwater level. After floor 18 you get some pretty good gear. This double axe has Void Strike and Swirling. This anchor has Void Strike and Shockwave. And this Soul Knife has Leeching and Shockwave, or Leeching and Void Strike. All good options. I'm actually just going to stick with the Starless Knight, because I just like the Starless Knight, so... Any of those options are good. I am going to choose to stay with the lower level gear. Now this is an end level. It's not particularly difficult, do be careful. And also, if you are unaware with how the end DLC works, do not touch any of that purple stuff. It makes you take amplified damage. Floor 19 has this really good Soul Scythe, but other than that, everything else here is pretty okay, so we are just going to keep moving on because, as I said, I really like the Starless Knight. Now this level is quite a difficult one, especially if it gets out of hand. There are a lot of strays, there are a lot of isologers, so this is where the Totem of Regeneration will become a very close friend. And just like that. There's nothing that great on this level. This mace is okay. This Great Hammer is not great, and the Tempest Knife is okay. Therefore, we're just going to keep pushing on with our Starless Knight. You can very much take a new melee. I will say, when we get to the final boss, it will be quite difficult with the Starless Knight. Or at least not difficult, but inconvenient. So, I like to play, trying to see how many items I can, or how many enchantment points I can have at the end. If you are just very worried about completing the level, or if you're new to the tower, I definitely recommend getting like the Double Axe or the Soul Scythe. There is a Coral Blade on this level. No, it's the next level. That is okay. I'm going to upgrade my Gong of Weakening, just because more time. I take this as a challenge. You do not have to. As you get more familiar with it though, I highly recommend you try to end with as many enchantment points as you can, because it adds a lot of fun challenge to the tower. Now this level is quite a difficult one, and in general, the levels that look like this, Windswept Peak ones, are incredibly difficult. These just on average are the hardest. So you could very realistically lose a game here. So be very careful. And that's the floor completed. Here's the Coral Blade. It has leeching, it has thundering, it has swirling. Very good. But we are going to stick with our Starless Knight. The reason I'm very confident in sticking with this Starless Knight is, number one, Starless Knight in general is a good weapon, and number two, we have the Guildsmith at the end of this level. Sorry, at the end of this tower. Which, yes, he does primarily gild your gear, but he also does give it a slight power boost. I think it will bring this up to 104, which will be quite nice. Now, careful on this level, there are quite a few Iceologers and a few Tower Guards. However, it should not be particularly difficult, especially if you do grab one of those higher level weapons. On to floor 23. Now this power bow is fantastic. It has cooldown shot or multi-roll, or not multi-roll, roll charge. It also has not void shot. Void shot is not a great enchantment, but it does have multi-shot, which is a good one. This whip is pretty nice, and you know what? We'll switch to the whip. Just because. I am not going to enchant the middle because the last boss it does not really help with, because it is just a boss and I'm trying to conserve enchantment points. And now that we're at the Guildsmith, I am going to gild my melee. Sometimes strikes twice. That is a fantastic guild for a slow weapon like the whip. Like I said, this is going to be the Jungle Abomination. Jungle Abomination is mildly problematic because it has a very large health pool. It also does a lot of damage with its poison, so be very careful. We seem to be dying to poison. And there goes the Jungle Abomination. There we go. And that is the tower completed for this week. It is, what is it? It's August 10th right now. So, for the week of August 10th, that was a tower. Honestly, one of the easier ones, way easier than last week. So that was the tower for this week. If you want to see my full playthrough of the tower, there's a link in the description to the unedited footage. If you have any more questions, please leave them in the comments, and I will be answering every single one. As for some questions on other videos, I am working on an armor video that will come out after my bow one. Soul Siphon is decent on a Soul Hunter crossbow, and I hope so too. It's been really heartwarming to see that you guys are enjoying these videos, because I sure am. So I hope to see you again soon. Bye!